Hello and welcome to Chats, a television podcast, season 15, Sense8. Each week we watch and discuss 2 episodes of the Netflix original series, Sense8. My name is Alan, and I'm joined by the legendary student of martial arts master, King Kong Kim. It's Magellan.
He taught me everything I know about climbing up big buildings and kicking planes.
Whoa. Saving princesses.
That's the particular style, the particular form of martial arts that I practice. Sorry, deep fried Mars bar in my mouth.
Oh yeah,
I'm using your joke from the pre-show. I stole it.
Oh God, it's fine. It's your joke to steal, basically. Who else is gonna steal it on this pod?
Thank you.
There are so many weird little bits like that on Sense8 where you're like, did that just... And like, they don't expect you to notice it if you're just binging the show, but I'm like, I heard you say King Kong Kim and like move right past that. Like that was a normal guy's name. I'm not going to accept that. And my roommate was like, why doesn't everybody in martial arts have cool nicknames like that? Why everyone else is like Sun, Mun. By the way, they're Sun and Mun.
Oh.
Oh.
Couple of Pokemon editions over here.
Oh, Ultra Sun and Ultramun. Okay, so... Okay, so is the laziest segue to stop talking about something ever. Holy crap. What's going on, Magellan? How are you?
I'm good. Happy Hanukkah. That's the holiday that we're in the midst of when we're recording. I think this will come out too late for it to still be Hanukkah, but hey, that's what is happening right now. And, you know, things are chill. Things are good. I'm on break from school for a couple weeks until the new year, and that's nice. Anyway, Alan, how are you? What's going on with you right now?
How are you? We hope that your new year is going well. We're so far in the past that we can't even fathom what 2023 looks like right now. It's probably the same, right? It's probably... Do you think they have like flying cars? Or?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. What's your take? Okay, well, the one big thing for 2023. What's it gonna be?
Oh God. Like in the world, like big technology thing?
It could be technology, it could be a cultural zeitgeist thing. I just want you to make a call on like the big thing. When people think 2023, they think this.
Unionization, like successful unionization. In the United States.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
With all the efforts with places like Starbucks, like unionizing and trying to across their different branches, I have to imagine that there's a tipping point in which many different branches go, hold on, this actually isn't hard. Why don't we simply do this?
That would be awesome.
And I hope that history bends towards justice and we go back to America where more people are more employed people are in unions than are not. I think that would be really cool and rock and roll as 2023 leans us into that future that I'm being optimistic about, honestly.
Yeah, okay. I love that.
Who knows? That's my optimistic take. My less optimistic take, COVID-2. What about you?
Golly. Yeah, I think it's going to be probably like AI-assisted grocery lists.
Ooh. You got an AI kick lately. I mean, the world is on an AI kick.
Yeah, lately. I think there's going to be an app where you log like what you buy, what you eat, and what you want to eat, and then there's an AI that is going to give you a grocery list.
I bet you that basically already exists, right? Like, we notice that you eat eggs at this rate. We know that you should order eggs at this time. Or Amazon just does it for you. Like, we've determined that you get eggs on every other Friday, so we just order you eggs.
Right.
We noticed that, Magellan, that you're eating 45 eggs a week.
Yummy.
And you don't have any. We also noticed you don't have any frying material. So are you just shoving 45 raw eggs into your mouth every morning?
Oh, so close.
Magellan full of fried eggs full of raw eggs, sounds exactly like Stitch for some reason.
Make that taco. Beef.
That was really like good.
Yolks falling out of my mouth.
Yeah, it's nasty.
Slimy tongue. Yucky stuff.
We're talking lick-a-tongue 2.0. Licky style.
Oh boy. Didn't think it needed an iteration.
There's a joke in there about iteration. Salivation. There it is.
Not bad. Let's talk about Sense8.
As I sip my tea. Not bad.
My Marjorie, did you hear that ribbing I just received? Not
Ow, my ribs.
bad at all. Ouchie.
Let's talk about Sense8. Yes, I agree with it.
Okay,
with your
please.
previous
Let's
thing.
do that.
We watched season 2, episode 6, and season 2, episode 7 this week. Episode 6 is called Isolated Above and Connected Below, or Isolated Above, comma, Connected Below. Episode 7 is I Have No Room in My Heart for Hate, and you'll be hearing about that after the break. Isolated Above, Connected Below was written by Lillian Lana Wachowski and J. Michael Straczynski. It was directed by Lana Wachowski, and it aired with season 2 on May 5th, 2017. Magellan, what happened in Isolated Above, Connected Below?
In this episode of Sense8, while Capheus enjoys a welcome surprise, Leto makes a splash at a high-profile event. Riley works to gain the trust of a Sense8 she saw at the rave.
Wow.
What do you think?
I think that summary does an amazing job of not telling you what you need to know, which is a welcome surprise is sex.
It took me about a clause of that sentence to realize what I had read, and I almost laughed out loud, but I was like, nah, I got to keep it together for the take.
Appreciate that. Always keeping it together for the sake of the take.
My gosh.
We got to see Toby Onumare's, presumably his, unless there was an stunt actor there. We got to see his whole naked ass. And we're going to talk about that for 45 to 50 minutes tonight, folks. We're in an interesting part of Sense8. You know, I was really disappointed last week, and I was messaging a friend who was watching along with us, and this week they binged the rest of the show. Just, people like to get ahead of us sometimes, and I totally approve of that because it means that they can be like, hey, you have this to look forward to. And he was saying that the show does kind of we're in a point where it sags in the season, but it's not like a flat sag. It's kind of like a Richter scale. We're like, oh, this is really good. Oh my God, this sucks. Wait, no, this is great. Oh. And this episode was quintessential up and down. Something. There's a joke in here about Capheus having sex. I'm not going to make it. But it's the rising and falling in quality. There's really good parts and there's really stupid parts, to be honest with you. But I had enough smiles and enjoyment with this one, and the title of the episode, the way the title is incorporated is one of my favorites so far of the series. So I ended up coming around to liking this one. What about you?
Yeah, I think for both of these episodes, my main critique is that there's this really interesting movement happening with the main plot that I'm actually invested in. Okay, we're getting some lore. We're learning more about the Angelica stuff and the Whisper stuff, and there's these other Sense8s that are in the mix and fleshing out the world of Sense8s and all the different ways that they can exist. And we're ping-ponging between that and rehashing a lot of character plots from the first season, or just bridging character plots where we spend several episodes talking about, oh, should I do this? Should I not do this? Am I going to go do this? I'm thinking about this. And I don't know. I'm feeling a little bit torn on this stretch of the season, because either give me the pure lovely slice of life show, or do the show where stuff happens, but stop giving me parts of the show where nothing happens because it's getting a little frustrating. So I liked the first one more than the second one, but both of them I think continued some of my feelings from last week of okay, and now what? And then what happened?
And my problem is that the main plot is not. It's getting better. It's just not thrilling right now, And
right. Yeah.
We're learning a lot, but we have no momentum towards where we're going. Every once in a while, my roommate comes and goes when he watches the show because he's doing his own thing. He's not recording a podcast, and sometimes he'll miss most of an episode and then come back and be like, wait, for example, wasn't Nomi on the run, and why is she at her sister's bridal wedding dress tryout now?
Right.
Or like, wasn't this character like, Sun got out of jail and that's fine. He said, whatever happened to Jonas? And I was like, oh, buddy. And then Jonas came back and I was like, ah, fuck. I mean, shit. So it feels like the show is not moving forward. It's just moving sideways a lot. And I think that's my biggest issue with these.
Yes.
I think that's also the biggest reason why people don't remember season 2 is there's no like, oh my God, we learned that Whispers is like lobotomizing people. It's like, yeah, he does that, and that's like fine, whatever. I've noticed, by the way, listening back to recent previous episodes, that the show has exceeded some of our expectations, especially like 2 weeks ago. Like, because 3 weeks ago we said like, oh, I hope Leto's plot, if it was done today, it would acknowledge the fact that being queer doesn't mean you're blackballed from Hollywood, but it means that you're given like you're typecast. And I wish that they would handle that, and they literally did that. They exactly did that. But it just doesn't, nothing like when they do things like that, it doesn't feel like it has that much weight. Like even the beautiful portrait of like Sao Paulo Pride Festival is like really wonderful. And then like, what does this mean for the story or for the development of the characters, other than like we got an excuse to film at a Pride Festival and with good music and lighting and everything. And that's all it is. That's fine. If the show's going to be vibes, it's going to be vibes. But then I can't do this 20 minutes of, oh my God, Angelica backstory. This guy got bulgered. There's a shooter. Todd's a bad guy. Like all that silly stuff.
Right. I think for me, it's like what it really comes down to is, do you want me to invest? Like, what kind of energy do you want me to invest into this show? Because if you want me to like watch closely and track like, okay, I have questions about this, or well, what about that? Or is this going to get explained? Then do the show that engages me on that level. And if you don't want me to ask those sorts of questions and you just want me to, love the characters and be invested in their interpersonal lives, I can totally do that too. But it just feels as an audience member like I'm never certain that an investment of my like intellectual energy is going to be worth it. And I'm never quite certain that my emotional energy is going to be like contextualized within a broader story,
Yeah.
So that's the difficulty that I was having with these 2 episodes. Still really enjoying the show. I would much rather watch Sense8 than many other things. But I just, was just feeling that disconnect.
It's pure entertainment right now. And like, it's not getting a huge emotional response out of me the way like the end of the last Matrix movie did. So it's not to say that the Wachowskis cannot pull on my heartstrings like that. Right. But I think, and this is maybe a little bit unfair, they're different shows with different means, but same year, The Leftover season 3 is like ripping our hearts out and making us rethink the grieving process all over again. And that show holds up in beautiful ways. And like, this is like a show about emotions, about people. And I watch it and I don't feel very strongly about things right now. That's like what my overall feeling of season 2 is a sense of, yeah, that's an idea. You put an idea in there. That's sure. Whatever. Okay. Yeah. And I support all of it. I like all of it. A lot of good things are on the screen. The representation is good. The writing is fine. The visuals are incredible. And there's something cohesive that the series is missing right now. That's my overall sense of season 2.
Yeah, I think it's and we'll talk about this as we get into specific characters. But, I think there's a strong sense of how to make a capable main plot in this show. Yeah. Okay, there's a bad organization. There's the bad guy who thinks he's doing it for the right reasons. There's our kind of predecessor good guys who failed, our predecessor good guys who made deals with the devil. There are our allies who are in hiding, and there are our rivals who have made deals with the bad guys. Like there's this full chessboard of people in this kind of big world-spanning plot. That is all there, capably done. I think the place where it's not quite clicking is the show sells you in the first season on, here are these 8 people. Here are their lives. Here are the things that they want. Here are the things that they're struggling with. And they are discovering camaraderie and connection with people around the world as they go through their personal issues. Mm-hmm. And I think for many of those characters, there was not a clear plan, or I'm not seeing evidence of a clear plan of like where those plots go, right?
Yeah.
Because some of our characters are diving into the main kind of conspiracy plot, like Will Gorski or Riley, and they've kind of lost some of their individual plotting in the process, and that's fine because now they're in this kind of action sci-fi show. And the rest of the characters are not diving into that main plot and are staying in their original character plots without a sense of like what what is Wolfgang doing? What does he want? Where
He's
is
become
he
a
going?
gag character, basically.
Yeah, or like when is Sun gonna confront her brother, I guess? And the rest of the time she's just gonna kind of wait to do that.
And be worried about doing that and tell people how she's worried about doing that. It's like, now go do it. Now go do it.
Yeah. So I would say let's start with the characters who feel a little less tied to the kind of central plot, and then we can work our way inward, if that sounds good to you.
That sounds perfect.
Okay. So let's talk about Sun, I guess, because there's not a lot that happens with her in this episode. She departs from living with her trainer
in the dog
for reasons that were not super clear to me. I guess because she wants to get away from the detective.
She also wants to go confront her brother, and if she stays here for much longer, they're going to find her and potentially hurt the trainer.
Okay, that makes sense. And where does she end up going? Is it her old apartment or something? This is where we used to live? Tore the phone out of the wall?
Fudge. I don't remember where she goes in this episode. I do know that she's sitting somewhere when she has the conversation with Riley, the very self-aware conversation.
Somewhere that she's sat before, because she says the last time we were sitting here, we were talking about this and that. And that's kind
I
of
know
it
for Riley, that's
Sun.
in London, right?
Right. And that's kind of it for Sun's plot in this episode. I don't know. Did you get anything else from it besides just those kind of like very simple beats?
Yeah, it's not always fun to me when the characters just say, "Hey, it seems like we've swapped plots" or something. It's played kind of like poetically here. It's trying to be, where Sun and Riley are like, you're worried, you're so excited to see your father, and I feel trapped where I am. And like Riley feels stuck in her prison trying to, not prison, in her hiding spot. And now Sun is the one who is excited to see her father, but not because she wants to reconnect with him, but because he's no longer alive and she needs to grieve and reconcile that. Mm-hmm. So like there's something nice there, but then for the characters to just outright say it, it's like, it just feels like the show does our job for us a lot of times. Like it resists analysis because it just does its own analysis. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. That is what happened there. Good job, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's another reason why sometimes the show doesn't like inspire emotion in me, is it's not letting me make the emotional connections. It's just telling me that they're happening.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of telling. And that scene to me also felt that way of, we've come full circle, huh? And then before you know it, the scene's over because they're done talking about how full circle they are.
Yeah, nothing else to say.
It's like, right.
I think that the two sex scenes in this episode, by the way, did you have another point about that?
No.
The two major sex scenes in this episode also, not only because that they are shot or they're cut back and forth, but both of them like only give you a tiny bit of development and are mostly here for like to see sex and to flatten the characters of Wolfgang and Kala to the size of a pancake, basically.
Yeah.
Like what's going on with Kala here, dude? So she had this whole thing about like, I don't know if I want to get married. I'm the first person in my family to marry for love. Still one of my favorite lines from her whole storyline, where her mom is like, don't you know that you're the first woman in our family to marry for love? And she can't like understand that. And now she's like, okay, I'm married, but what if I had sex, like Sense8 sex with Wolfgang, and then I also was having sex with Rajan, and then it's played for this comedy, right? Of it's one of the funnier scenes in the 2 episodes. After this, like tense, passionate lovemaking scene between her and Wolfgang, Rajan comes in the next day and says like that was amazing, and like tenderly kisses her. And I'm just watching this guy who's like ostensibly been cheated. He has been cheated on. She has like had an emotional and in some ways a metaphysical affair with someone else.
Right.
And it's played for comedy because quote unquote, it's not real. And so he kisses Wolfgang instead because he doesn't, in his head, he doesn't see the difference. It's just Kala there. And this is all funny too, because like the guy who plays Wolfgang smiles, like enjoying the comedy of it. It's very cute, but like they also know that this isn't a good place to take the plot, so they just undo it in like the next couple scenes where Kala's like, "We shouldn't do this anymore. This was cheating. This is bad." But like you did it, you did do it. Is the show gonna handle that? I feel like they're not.
Yeah, I think the thing that's frustrating about where this plot is going is it feels regressive for the characters because it feels like we were here already and we are back here now in a way that isn't self-aware. It feels like the plot is trying to pretend as if this is new or something, or like Kala is deciding I'm going to cheat on my husband, but like they've already had brain sex before.
Yep.
Like in an orgy even. It's like it's happened. And it's just this like really drastic oversimplification of what her motivations are. And yeah, I didn't like it. It's really making Kala a lot more boring and like giving her less agency. And she's allowed to make bad decisions or miscalculations or hurt people, be selfish or do the thing that she needs to do, or however you want to interpret her and Wolfgang. Like the act of having sex with Wolfgang, I don't think is inherently a bad story decision. But I think the way it's presented is like pretty by the book, in terms of like adultery stories, I guess.
Very much
so. It's not super interesting.
Agreed 100%. And like the Wolfgang side of that is starting to tie into some sort of main plot, at least, right? He's interacting with Lila. Is all that cool assassin stuff with her in this one?
Yeah.
Okay, so remember how a couple episodes ago, Magellan and I were like, wouldn't it be cool? That bald guy who smokes the cigars in a cool way. Wouldn't that be cool if he was like the main villain of the show or something? The show teases us because
they bring him back. Yeah,
they fully bring him back. Lila is Agent 47 from Hitman, like sniping dudes or shooting dudes with a pistol. She's being badass, just like so cool. This is also after the soccer scene, by the way. We can talk about that in like stray notes or whatever, but that's part of the whole Kala Wolfgang flirt.
Yeah, let's just knock it out now. The thing that's annoying is Kala just shows up to like watch Wolfgang play shirtless soccer, and it's like really bloody too for some reason. And she's super into it, but then she's like, "We can't do this." It's so odd. I
the
was
boys,
not a fan.
You don't do that with your boys. You like play soccer and y'all get shirtless and break each other's noses.
No, and my girlfriend also doesn't watch from a distance and say,
bite her lower lip.
Yeah, so sexy. What a man. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, your girlfriend is in there breaking noses.
Yeah, fully.
No, it's super gratuitous. It's just like, it's almost like it's almost female gazy too. It's just like, look how hot these guys are. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing to Wolfgang? Wolfgang has like been so flattened more than any other character. And to be fair, he was never like super duper rich. I think the truth is he's most interesting when Felix is involved. But like, didn't we have a whole thing about money laundering through the club and all? That's gone. We haven't seen that in like 4 fucking episodes. Where does that?
Yeah.
So then, anyways, yeah, this is worth noting, though. One of the people he plays football with are the Fuchs, Fuchs, because Felix says, "Oh, let's beat up Fuchs fucks," which must have been so hard for the actor to say. It's like a deliberate thingy. Lila, before she goes into the place where Volner, I think it's his name, Volner, the bald guy that we like a lot. She like beats all his men, and there's a man from her cluster that we briefly get to see. Very exciting. Whispering to her not to talk to Wolfgang and to like do all these murders. And she finally like shoots Volner in the head, and you're like, wait. And he mentioned something about Fuchs before she does that, and you're like, wait, are like the guys that Wolfgang is working for bad? Are they working?
Well,
with...
what he says is like, Fuchs doesn't know what you are, but you and I were the same. Which
is he a Sense8?
Could mean he's a Sense8, or he's just talking about their ambition, or something like that.
Yeah.
I took it to mean he's secretly a Sense8, which would be kind of fun.
Very good. I'm very into that.
Yeah. But it was cool to see Lila like do something and like be dangerous. Because it was shot well. It felt like The Matrix. And also now it's like, oh shit, we're probably going to have to like fight Lila and her sunglasses friend in her brain pretty soon.
Yeah. Volker. Sorry. Now he's dead. I can remember his name is Volker Bohm. So Volker, rest in peace, Volker, our fave side character for now. Lila's a threat. The guy inside of her cluster is a threat. Who knows what's going to happen there? Who's next? Who's next on the docket on the killing blows?
Let's talk about Capheus.
Oh yeah, I jumped over him because in this episode he meets up with Zakia outside of his bus. There is like a little. Did you notice the little comedy when she comes up to talk to him? He gets out and Jella like gets into the driver's seat, and I thought he was gonna drive away. Like,
see ya, have fun.
See ya, you're taking too long. Bye. But even funnier, Zakia. Oh God, this is so corny. I laughed at it. I smiled at it in a Sense8 earnestness way. But he's like, oh, the guys that at your work. And she's like, oh fuck those guys. They're all like trust fund babies, anyways. They all suck. And he's like, yeah, they mentioned that you. She's like, yeah, I was with a woman. And he's like, yeah. And then she's like, I'm also with men. I also like men too a lot, and I would like to be with you, a man. And then she says, what's the line about the genitals?
Oh, I don't remember.
Control F genitals. I fall in love with a person, not their genitals. Which I wrote, wow, Queen Zakia in my notes. Because same. We should all be like this. But
yeah, right.
Then they kiss in front of everyone, and like 30 plus people in the bus on the street go like, woo, let's go. Like they clap and cheer for a kiss, which is so goofy and chaotic and good.
Yeah.
This is why I was like, I think I overall like this episode. It's scenes like this where nothing has to make sense, but it's funny. Good for Zaka. We stand a bisexual icon. It's great.
Right.
Or I guess a pansexual icon, depending on your terminology. Anyways, Capheus is now debating becoming a politician because a pretty lady told him that he'd be cool if he did that.
Yeah.
I knew this was going to happen.
When they go have sex, I mean, is there anything to say about that?
It's pretty tasteful. It's like not too, I didn't feel too uncomfortable. I don't never feel uncomfortable during sex scenes unless they're non-consensual. But this was like, this seemed totally fine. It's very beautifully shot, good lighting. Bodies writhing together. It's a sex scene, and it's intercut with the Kala Wolfgang one. What about you?
Yeah, I don't know. It was very. I mean, I guess this isn't new for the show, but it was very graphic. So just be warned when you're watching this.
What's that? What else? We got Sun, Capheus. We got Wolfgang Kala. There's like Leto stuff in this episode.
Yeah.
We go to Sao Paulo. Oh, hey, we get to the airport. Everybody's here. There's like 10 gay people, and you know that they're gay because of rainbows. And everyone's like, hey, Leto, we have a hotel for you. Why does he feel hesitant about staying there or whatever? They say, like, you have a hotel. And he's like, and they're like, if you don't want to, you don't have to.
I think he was hesitant about giving a speech.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, not about staying there.
It's funny how this is an actor playing an actor. And so when the actor playing an actor is acting, so I'm saying this slowly so people can make sense of it. He's like super confident and good at it. But when the actor is playing a person, like, you know, an actor who's not acting, like he's just talking, having a speech, you get the sense that actually Lito Rodriguez is a little bit awkward. Like, despite being like really well off and really handsome and all this stuff, he's still like, I don't know how to do a speech. Like, this is a thing that I wrote. What is the fuck is this? Because actors don't do that. And it's very charming. He talks about, you know, the classic love is love. It shouldn't feel bad to have to say that I'm a gay man. He says it over and over again. Everyone claps and cheers. And then we get a little dance sequence where Daniela and Hernando with his painted beard. And then Lito and all the people in Sao Paulo.
Yeah, Danny's OMG earrings. Those are
amazing. Cool. Amazing. She's living for it. And I'm happy for everybody involved. I think there's also a scene in a restaurant later where they see a gay man kiss another guy, and immediately Danny takes pictures of them, and I was like, is this her character trait? She's just she can't see gay men without being like, I must add to my collection. It's Pokemon Snap.
That was before. I think that's the thing that gets Lito to decide that he wants
to do the speech. Yes.
Yeah.
What we're learning is all Lito needs to discover gay rights is to watch gay people do things. And let me tell you, buddy, it doesn't have to be that hard. It doesn't have to take that much effort. But yeah, beautiful, beautiful stuff. They clearly, this is one, like, you know, when I learned that they filmed the Nomi stuff from last season at the SF Pride Parade, I'm like, okay, did they like find some connect who said they could film at Sao Paulo Pride and they wrote a plot around it? Because it feels like we kind of just got Lito here to do that. And then we just bring him right back to Mexico as if none of this really materially happened. You know what I mean? Like, next episode, he's just like, anyways, back in Mexico, I'm fired.
Right.
But it's not still nice.
It's not super clear, what the like character beat is. I guess it's just him more openly like coming out on a grand stage, right?
Yeah.
And like continuing to do that intentionally. But it does feel like we're kind of hitting a similar moment that we've been hitting for the last few episodes.
Yeah. I'm good to move on though from Lito right now. I like what happens with him in the second episode, so we can get there when we get there.
Me too. Yeah.
I believe that brings us to Nomi, Will, and Riley.
Yeah, that brings us to the main plot, I guess, of the episode.
Weirdly, I have less to say.
Yeah, I mean, so what do we substantially do here? Riley gets visited by the dude from the lab a couple episodes ago. Turns out he's a Sense8. A lot of this is Riley having conversations with different Sense8 people, which also continues in the next episode. So there's this guy, and he like wants to have sex with her and calls her hardtoget.com, which is gross. And he's like, hey, you know, watch out. The world's a scary place. It's interesting to see Riley interact with different Sense8s because we see how different people cope with like living in this world that hunts them down. And she particularly befriends this like Scottish fisherman guy, seeming guy from the concert, who we learn later is named Mr. Hoy, right?
Yes.
Is that right?
Mr. Hoy.
And she earns his trust, and he has this beautiful quote where he says, "Maybe I realized I'm slowly dying of survival," which brings Riley to tears. And then they exchange proof of their locations, and he gives her a lore dump about BPO and how it got started and how it's changed over time and what makes Whispers so scary. And then he's the one who's going to help us figure out where Whispers is. And the way that he does it is he's going to ask his Sense8 internet. Sapiens invented Google in the 1990s. We've had it since the Neolithic. And then we get this really cool sequence of like boom, 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 boom.
Really cool.
Whispering at each other's ears. Yeah. which is how Sense8s get information.
Amazing. It's like 25 people. It's a pretty long sequence.
Yeah.
That must have been really difficult to film with all the different locations, but it's different people dropping what they're doing and being told by their individual clusters to, because that's the idea of isolated above, connected below. Is the archipelago is similar to like Whispers' network. Everybody has their cluster, but they can connect to other clusters. It's cool. It opens up the idea of Sense8ness to everybody. Like, and to every Sense8 at the very least. We can all actually talk with each other just through certain like fault lines. People can talk across clusters, which is great.
Yeah.
And it's mostly an information gathering thing. My main thing here is I love A, that sequence, B, the idea of an archipelago, and C, I think Mr. Hoy is just fun. I like it when we have old people who are like useful and not just, wacky and like what's the word when you're like really old and sad? Senile. That's not the word. I'm sorry. Senile is the word I was looking for. It doesn't mean old and sad. But like, it's not just like, oh my God, look at these like depressed. It's like, oh, he's like a fun dude who has done this for so long. And there is a tragedy to Mr. Hoy, right? This like, I have been doing this running thing that you've been doing for like a year. I've been doing it for about 30, 40 years. It's exhausting.
Right. Yeah. He's a really, he's a fun character to add into the mix. And even though he's basically just like a kind of the new Jonas stand-in of like, I'm gonna tell you stuff. It's still pretty cool. I like him. He's like very charming.
Yeah, and this like fisherman archetype of him, and the trust thing, all of this is like really nice. Because so much of Sense8 season 2 is like, can we trust each other across clusters? Maybe not. Like with Lila, probably not. And they don't think they should trust him, but it's like, what if we did? The classic, this is Riley after being told by Capheus. She says, what if things go wrong? And he says, what if they don't? So she's learning to trust people and to trust him and it work out. And to see his little like coffin hidey hole inside of his lab was really fun. Like, it's okay. Everything's going to be fine. So yeah, I like Mr. Hoy. I think he's actually legitimately one of the cooler new things from season 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, Riley just getting a lot of lore dumps. I think the other fun thing in this with Will is the sequence where he is in Whispers for a couple seconds.
Yes. Yeah, where it's like the first person perspective.
Yeah.
In Whispers' life. Yeah, that's a pretty cool moment.
I wish the show was weirder, is what I wrote. Like, I wish the show did way more stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's not only that he's in there, but, like, Riley is the wife and the kids are there. And
yeah, it's really trippy. It's like, it was kind of startling when it first started.
Can we just get way more of that, please, Sensei? I want the show to get weirder, believe it or not.
I would
not
love
just
that.
I want gayer and weirder. I can.
Yes.
Two axes that we can go down.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, then Riley talks with Sun about confidence and stuff and worrying and how they're parallels. That ties us back to Sun. It's like a Secret Santa gifting thing. When do the characters loop back around to each other? Did you have any other main plot notes? Angelica's cabin. Nomi goes back to Angelica's cabin and her plot line.
Yeah, there's this part. So essentially, we get more stuff about like the Sense8s have Angelica's memories, and we're getting more information about how Angelica was involved in things. And this is what I got from this. The sense I got is Angelica had made advances into grafting. There's stuff in both of these episodes about like the grafting process, which is what we've seen Whispers do. And I think Angelica probably was working with Whispers, figured some stuff out about grafting, was like, this is terrifying, and needed to destroy her progress to set BPO back. So the Sense8 from her first cluster, who Leto knew, the reporter, what was his name?
Raul.
So Raul goes in and torches the place. Or Angelica made Raul do it.
I think it's that.
Which is really spooky.
Is it so? This is what I was confused about. Is Angelica herself actually a bad guy, or was she being manipulated by Whispers?
I think the general the general vibe I get is Angelica was working for BPO, did everything she could to make Whispers believe that she was on Whispers' side so that she could, from the inside, find her Sense8 kids or help Sense8s out or something like that, is like what she was trying to do. And she had made progress on this grafting stuff and needed to somehow destroy the progress to slow BPO down. That's the sense I get from this.
Okay.
But the thing that's a little annoying about the episode is the way that it, like, Riley's told by Mr. Hoy, somebody wants you to go to Chicago to like get more information.
Yeah.
And then the resolution of being in Angelica's memories is Neats is like, well, what happened? And Nomi's like, I don't know. All I know is things got bad when she went to Chicago. And then everyone looks at Riley like, oh my God, you're going to Chicago.
Oh no, that's you.
That's the same place. And it's like, what are you talking about? Just tell us like anything. Give us a piece of information from that flashback instead of this weird abstract like Chicago. Oh no. It's like a kind of a strange resolution to the episode.
Absolutely. Cause like I'm not opposed to them having a character just explain to us, because other characters are asking her, hey, Nomi, what happened? So like tell her. I know you just showed it to us, but use words to say it, because everything with Angelica is like mostly nonverbal or in like faded background noise. Like I need to know specifically what Angelica did and to who and why, instead of like, it feels like I'm squinting looking at an interpretive painting sometimes. And I think, and that's not what, like, that's also fine. I've watched Twin Peaks and sometimes that feels like looking at an inscrutable painting. But make that either that's the show or not. This is not a show where everything's interpretive and like symbolic. It's actually like there's a lot of things that specifically tangibly happen. So it's very confusing, all the Angelica stuff. And I feel like that's because they don't know what they want to do with it or how it's going to loop back. I just feel like they're like stacking Lego bricks and not building a set, so to speak. Can you tell I've been building Legos this week? That's just how I felt about it. Feel free to disagree. Also, just the note here, Nomi like having a totally normal, fun life and being interrupted by Sense8 work and the show not doing anything with that, because like she's talking with her sister Tegan while she tries on wedding dresses. It's very cute. Her and Neats and Tegan are trying on dresses, whatever. And she's saying like, Tegan, like, what are our parents saying about you? And they're like, oh, they're saying you shouldn't come to my wedding because you're going to make it all about you because you're a narcissist and that's what you do. Which, like, I know people who've, like, gotten that kind of flack. You know, we've heard of that before, even in the news. Like, when you're queer, a lot of times, like, parents or adults who don't want to understand it will say, oh, you just want attention. Because why would we trust kids to understand their own body or gender or sexuality when they could just be lying?
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting. And Nomi does worry about that and talk to Neats later and go like, am I a narcissist? I don't know. But she also goes like, anyways, Tegan, I gotta go do my Sense8 shit. This was really fun. Bye. I'm gonna run out of here in my underwear. Love you. And like, we're not gonna talk about the fact that she is like leaving her sister in the middle of this like important time of her life.
Yeah, it was a little strange because that episode is kind of entertaining it as a possibility that Nomi is really self-centered, which doesn't feel, I don't know. There's like, it's like a kind of risky conflation that's happening because, like you're saying, her parents are saying that in this incredibly toxic way. And that's one thing. And then it's another thing for her to be wrapped up in this like new life, new identity as a Sense8, new community, whatever. And that feels like those are separate things that we should keep separate if we're talking about like someone being self-focused or whatever. Because like I am actually interested in Nomi and Amanita's relationship and like the tension that's there where Amanita's been like, giving and giving and giving and learning about the Sense8 stuff, but fundamentally is like not experiencing it and not a part of it. And like, what does that do to their relationship, and what are the ways that it strengthens it, or the ways that it is putting strain on them? And we get the beginnings of that here, but for that to be set up by like, hey, my horrible, shitty dad said something terrible. What do you think? And I didn't like that.
Yeah, like I see a truth in Nomi's story, and again, I talked about this in season 1, but it comes from the writers. That being a lived experience for at least Lana, But I just say that the show like sprints past it, like it's just so fast paced, and maybe you and I are just more suited for like this is a modern TV show where things happen really fast, and maybe the show is too fast paced for everything it's trying to do. But like, Nomi's interesting. Her fears are interesting, and it's valid to say like maybe the things that my parents say to me when they're being bigoted or whatever, maybe I believe some of that shit sometimes.
Right.
That there's something there, and the show literally runs past it. She exactly pulls the dress off and goes, "I gotta go do plot." So it's a bummer because I think I just like Nomi a lot, and I want to see her character in her life and not all of this A plot silliness.
Agreed.
Can I get some final straight notes though? This is a longer episode, I should note. That's why we have more to say than we thought.
It is a long episode. Riley and Will have a nice Sense8 kiss before he takes the beta blockers, and they're like, damn, can't wait to have a Sense8 kiss again.
Yes.
It's kind of, that's something that they only like the really good kisses.
Yeah.
Let's see. I like the way that Lito told Hernando and Danny that they're going to Sao Paulo. He like gathered them together and tried to be serious about it. And then he's like, we're going to Sao Paulo. And then he kind of did this face like, yeah, I tried to do a bit, but it was a little stupid. It's very well acted.
Really cute.
Yeah. The pool did lure Wolfgang after all.
Like a fucking fish to water, bud. Like a fish to the hook.
We knew that it was going to happen that way, and they have sex in the pool. And, what can you say? Motifs or something.
Like the creepy pink hair Sense8 guy said, sex can be a good trust builder.
Did we talk about Silas Kabaka being back?
Nope. He's fucking dead.
And how he's dating Capheus' mom.
And they're having sex.
Really weird.
Why? It's like they heard you say, like, whatever happened to Silas Kabaka? And they're like, oh, he's smashing Capheus' mom. What? Why? Any particular reason?
Strange.
Life is not just full of surprises; it's also full of gifts, says Capheus' mom.
Capheus says that.
Capheus says that. Sorry. Yes. This is cute. Whatever. Bring Silas back. I like that actor. Whatever. Fucking whatever.
It's so strange. That's all I have, though.
I have a couple quickies. Lito in that scene is also effortlessly flipping a Spanish omelet. I need to know how many takes that took, or how they filmed that, or like what happened with the omelet, because it's perfect. He says, like, my mom used to make this in Spain, or my dad missed Spain, and that's why I love doing it. Capheus post-coitus in Zakia's beautiful house, naked, or just in his boxers, enjoying her fancy house and not knowing how to use the espresso machine is hilarious. Kind of weird just seeing an actor in his boxers, though. Like, you just can see everything. It's like it's a form of nudity. Riley, when she talks to the other Sense8 afterwards, Will's like, what happened? And she says, I just picked up the equivalent of a Sense8 STD. Which, why are we judge like creepy sex people, but the rest of us are good sex people. Because he's like non-consensual, kind of gross. Like, if we have sex, it'll be good. You should do it. Which I understand the delineation there, but it's just funny. And last thing, Mr. Hoy says to Riley, some of my best friends are sapiens. I see what you guys did there.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned the Google line. That was my favorite line of the episode. That's all. That's all I got. That's all we have for now. We'll be right back after this brief musical break to talk about episode 7, I Have No Room in My Heart for Hate.
second episode we watched this week was Season 2, Episode 7 of Sense8, entitled I Have No Room in My Heart for Hate. It was written by Lillian Lana Wachowski and J. Michael Straczynski, directed by James McTeague. It aired on May 5th, 2017, along with the rest of Sense8 Season 2. Alan.
Yes, Magellan.
What happened in I Have No Room in My Heart for Hate?
In this episode, Will asks for help from an old friend as Riley embarks on a risky journey. Meanwhile, Kala makes a troubling discovery, and Sun has an intense encounter in the cemetery. Wow.
Again, welcome surprise, intense encounter.
It's sex, except this time it's not sex. It's fighting sex.
It's
my
better
favorite
than
kind.
Sex. Yeah.
It's, what is it, Bill?
Night of the Science Guy?
No. Who did Inside? Bill
Hader?
No. The sad Bill. Fuck, this joke is so not worth the time I'm putting into it.
Inside?
Yeah, on Netflix.
Bill Burr.
Bill
Bill,
Burr.
what's his face? No, not Bill Burr.
Not Bill Burr.
I know who you're talking about.
Bo
Guy,
Burnham.
tall,
Bo Burnham.
young.
Bo Burnham.
Bo Burnham. Yeah, that's right.
Bo Burnham. Fine voice. Is there anything better than pussy? Yes, a really good fight. Okay, it was worth it. I'm glad I got to it. Maybe I'll cut that so it just sounds like I said it flawlessly.
Get out of my joke type joke.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, did you watch that video essay analyzing that video?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Amazing.
It's so good. Oh, God. So this episode's not too complicated compared to the other one. It's just kind of, it's stacking more Lego bricks on top, you know?
Yeah, pretty much.
We get more character stuff. We get more build up. Let's just like hit the big scenes in this one. That way we can get in and out.
Yeah. So, okay, first off, let me full disclosure here.
Full disclose.
My cat Melon was like, "Hey, why aren't you paying attention to me right now?" So I was like, "Okay, let me go lie down and I'll hold my cat." And so I was lying down holding my cat. And not taking a lot of notes. And then in the Sun fight scene, I kind of like fell asleep every 5 seconds and woke back up to someone punching someone in the face. So this was an episode that I was not completely there for, probably, but it's because I was taking care of my cat. And I think that's okay.
I think your priorities are in the right place, bud.
Thank you. I'll tell you what's going on with each character, though.
Sure.
Bug is back.
Well, no.
Sorry. Let me talk about the main characters. Rajan's horny friend is here.
Ajay.
No. Sorry. Ajay, you're right.
The main
that's not
characters.
who I
The
meant.
main characters.
Yeah, the main characters. We see Diego again in Chicago.
This motherfucker. Can you believe Diego's back? I almost said DJ. Diego's freaking back, dude.
I was
He's
actually
good.
like, yeah, Diego. Okay.
It's been long enough.
Yeah.
It's been
right.
really long.
Yeah, it's been. Yeah. Anyway, let me tell you what's actually happening with the main 8 of the Sense8s. I'm not going to do another bit. So Riley is going to Chicago. She's going to get some more lore information. She kind of hangs out with Diego, who chauffeurs her around and is there for her protection also, it seems. And then she ends up with the big lore dump by the end of the episode. So she's over there. We'll talk about that.
Big dump, yeah.
Big dump. She also is on the plane and talks to an interesting Sense8 person on the plane, which we could talk about as well. Will spends the whole episode worrying about Riley and hoping that she's okay.
It's like season 1 all over again, for fuck's sake.
So that's that. Then Nomi is hanging out with Neets, and Neets' 3 dads.
Hell yes, hell yes.
A whole thing. And Nomi's also helping Will and Riley do the main plot stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Wolfgang, who is, I don't know. What's Wolfgang doing in this episode? Anything?
Hold on.
I think he just shows up to like talk to Will and Riley.
Yeah, I have no notes about Wolfgang in this episode at all.
Barely in this one.
Weird.
Okay, Wolfgang's barely in it. Kala is confronting Rajan about the shady business dealings, and that kind of goes somewhere. Capheus's mom meets his new girlfriend, and they talk about politics and if he should do it. Sun encounters the detective guy again at her father's memorial or grave and has a fight kiss with him. Leto gets fucked over by his agents. And I think that's everybody.
I think that is my top 2 plots. Well, I really like Nietzsche's dad so much, even though it means it's nothing. It does nothing for the story other than makes me smile and laugh. These actors had so much fun doing this scene. And then dancing while cooking later.
Yeah.
I feel like someday if I ever were to make a TV show, if I were blessed to work on the set of a TV show, I would love just days that are like this, where it's like, all right, we're just going to film you guys making food and laughing and singing. And then you're going to do a whole like back and forth tit-a-tat about how back in the 70s, all we did was fucking do drugs. And now all we do is wish that we could fucking do drugs.
Yeah, I was amused by the one guy being like, we were Black Panthers and now we cook quinoa. That's
fucking bars, funny. Dude. That's bars. So goofy and good.
Some very heavy-handed exposition just about, like, because they haven't shown Nietzsche's 3 dads before, right?
They did in the Christmas episode. They didn't speak, though.
Okay, but they were there.
Yeah.
Okay. And now they're explicitly, because they had to do this whole setup moment where Nietzsche's like, yeah, growing up with 3 dads, people made fun of me, but I loved having 3 dads. And then when they're with the dads, Nomi's like, wow, I can't believe you all are okay with the fact that nobody knows who's the dad. And it's like, okay, this is great.
Why is this
like a character family backstory thing that's happening in season 2, episode 7?
We've run out of storyline. That's why.
It's just kind of odd. But it was amusing for Nietzsche's mom to be like, I fucked all these guys. And it was awesome.
It's weird. She's like, I wanted to dismantle the patriarchy, so instead I had a lot of sex. Okay, yeah. No, Nietzsche's mom. That's cool for you.
Yeah.
Their life together seems really fun. They seem well off and happy, and I don't have a problem. I don't fundamentally have a problem with it, even though it does nothing for the story.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
Although if they like kidnap these guys, it's a Mario game. Each of them is in a different castle. Nomi has to rescue them. She has to rescue Amanita's parents. That's all they can do with it that I like. No, I think my personal favorite plot lines are Kala's, which dives into something that the show has been like tiptoeing around for the whole entirety and finally is saying. Yeah. And not Capheus's, definitely not fucking Leto's, which is so ridiculous. I think I liked I like where Leto's goes with his agent. I don't like the stuff with Joaquin. I think that's all incredibly stupid and unnecessary. The stuff with his agent is like pretty fun. Pretty interesting. Yeah. Not fun, but like interesting.
Do you want to go from your least favorite to most favorite?
Sure.
Roughly speaking. Okay.
Will is about to assault. Will worrying about Riley is nothing to me. It does nothing. Riley,
there's not much to it.
No, really. It really is. It's just him being protective again, and no reason why. Like him communicating with Diego, and Diego being like, "My whole life has happened since so much life has happened since you left me here, and I thought we were best friends." And like kind of retroactively making them best friends really worked for me, except for that line where Will is like, that's the thing I like the most about being a cop was sitting in that stinky shit car with you and just being with my best friend all day long. And I wrote in my notes like, dog, you could just be friends. You could just go hang out with why do you have to be a cop with him? Why is that the thing you need to hang out in a stinky car with? You could just be stoners. Like what?
Right.
So good. They never talk about what being a cop is and why he actually does that, other than he has a savior complex.
Right.
Riley's plot in this gave me big like mid-series Lost vibes, where it's like, it's like, okay, we know the factions. But who are the like originators of the faction? And like, we're going to meet them and we're going to talk to people who are like, I remember when the faction was good. And it's like, what? Why? And the character and the viewer are like, why is this important? This cup says drink me next to it. So I take the blockers so no one else can be here. This is really weird.
Yeah.
That woman coming in, I was like, who the fuck are you? I literally out loud said, like, who the fuck are you? And I was like, who's the lady who founded BPO?
Oh, Sadahi? I forget.
That person. I thought it was her for half a second, and I was like, no, don't do that. She's not supposed to be alive anymore. This is dumb. And then, like, the rest.
Ruth El Sadawi.
Okay, thank you. Ruth. Hi, Ruth. It's for the Hey Arnold fans out there. Yeah, I thought she was Ruth. She wasn't. It didn't seem like it was anything other than she knows about, where. So, like, Clovey working with Ruth, he split off. He worked with Brant, aka Whispers. She says the line as if we needed a reason why his name is Whispers. It's the voice that tells you to harm yourself when you're not sure if you're full of doubt to do X, Y, and Z. That voice never shouts; it only whispers, which is like a cool villain name origin that we should have gotten in season 1, honestly. Or we should have never gotten. Like, I don't know if we actually needed it.
Yeah, it feels there are some things in this mid-season here this episode that felt like if we had gotten this a season ago, it would have made a lot more sense. Because, like, we've already beaten Whispers, and now we have all these people being like, whoa, Whispers? That dude is terrifying.
Oy.
And it's like, but we are outside his house right now. We got his boss to make him in trouble. Like, this guy is not scary to us.
No.
So it was kind of weird. But it's good, villain build up.
Yeah, we're gonna go into the compound next week, and that'll be fun. Maybe is that just Will? Everyone else is sensating in there.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, I'm calling it my shot. We're gonna watch Will Jason Bourne his way through Whispers' compound next week.
It's gonna be awesome.
Garen fucking T, and I'm going to love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is all it's like shuffling ideas. And then the weirdest stuff for me in the main plot was like needs to know me watching the video. I like the editing trick where they cut to the video being like as if we're in the video that they're watching, which is the assassination of Mitchell Taylor, the guy telling people about the Sicilium. Did I want Sense8 to tackle mass shootings in the United States? Abso-fucking-lutely not. Do they handle it well? I'm not going to say yes, but I'm not going to say they completely would. Like, it's, it's given the gravity that it needs. This is not a show that ever needs to come up with, like, solutions for these problems. But the line where I think it's, like, Nietzsche's mom or whatever, who's like, maybe if we, like, it's because men. And then the dads are like, yeah, like, hate has a gender or something. I was like, what are we doing? Why is this the choice that we've made for like we've planted our stake in why school shootings and mass shootings happen? It's because men and gender. It's like, dog, it's way bigger than that, and because it's way bigger, you shouldn't have even done that. What is this scene started? And like to show it, right? Like to show like a shooting in a mosque, like that's a real thing that fucking happens in the real world, and we see it graphically depicted here. It's treated with the weight it deserves, but like, wow, guys, what's happening?
Right.
In the midst of all of this serious Sense8 stuff.
Right. It's also, I have mixed feelings about the idea of, I have mixed feelings about this idea of like, basically Whispers is grafting onto Todd here, from what I understand.
Yes.
And using a mass shooting as a cover for this like assassination that he's doing.
The news won't focus on the murder. They'll focus on the rest of it.
Yeah, which I think makes a statement in its way about like how common mass shootings are in the media, that you can do that sort of thing. Like conceivably in this world, you could hide a psychological or a telepathic hijacking in a mass shooting, but it also feels too close for my comfort to them using mass shootings as like set dressing for their sci-fi plot.
Yes.
So I don't know.
It's
weird.
Let's just dig into this a little bit because the rest of this episode I like don't have intense things, and this is worth talking about. A man is manipulating a young, technically closeted Sense8, but if we're gonna like call that queerness, right? Closeted
sure.
Christian man to commit violence. Like there's something about like white supremacy and like the way that yes, that men are their emotions are repressed and they're told not to feel these things, like, and the wrapping up of gender and white supremacy and all of that stuff in this like charged moment, but it is that's just like subtextual. The episode's not going to be about that.
Yeah.
Todd's storyline is evolving into this weird, like he's just a pawn of a greater power. Is Whisper like what is Whisper supposed to represent in that metaphor of like he is what is he white supremacy? Is he cishet white supremacy? Like what is he? So is he just like he's the evils of the world? I don't know. And again, I
like
say
that
this.
reading though. I think that's a useful way to look at it.
Yeah, because really, I don't agree with Nomi's or with Nietzsche's parents that like it's just because men are men and that's awful and we need to fix men. Yeah, that's a big part of it. We also need to rethink how and why we allow people to acquire assault rifles. We also need to think about how we treat mental health and how we help people emotionally regulate in society and how we connect people and find community and culture in religious sites, not see them as places to like, you know, that are harmful or scary. It is so complicated and so multi-layered, and they are tapping into one very small section of it and saying like, that's the problem is men. That I'm like, oh God. And I feel like I sound like kind of unfair or something, being like, oh, this violence, that gender stuff sucks. But like, if you're gonna do this plot, then fucking say something about it. Dude, say something. Well, okay, violence isn't gender, yeah, and so what? And then we're also saying like, but our dads are so cool. Like, there's something there too. There's something there. So.
Right.
I'm sorry. I feel like I'm like spinning around points a lot, and because the show is doing that, and all that is to say, I didn't feel like they did much with what is actually a really serious and important plot point.
Yeah.
But also, they referenced 9/11 like 2 weeks ago, so like, fucking who cares? Sense8 does what it does. Do you have more to say about this?
No.
Okay.
I think you pretty much nailed it.
Thanks. I did my best. The other thing I liked, the pharmaceutical stuff with Kala. I liked it until it ended, right? Because she's like, oh, Jay's here. That's weird. Why is he here? Oh my God, Kala, you're so hot. Okay, that's weird. Hey, can you leave, Ajay? I need to talk to my husband. Hey, Rajan, can you talk to me? I'm so angry. Rajan, oh my God, you're so sexy when you're angry. Can we stop sexualizing Kala for literally 5 seconds? Wow, these men suck. Wow. And it shakes me to my core to acknowledge that, yeah, pharma companies probably do this kind of stuff sometimes. There are, which is to say, like, selling and distributing subpar quality drugs because you need to get rid of inventory or you have profit margins, you know? Raja gives this weird speech about, like, I didn't really have religion. My dad raised me to think this business was religion. He taught me, as soon as I learned how to count, he taught me profit margins. Like, yes, this is ingrained in Rajan's brain that this is normal for him. And he needs to undo that programming. But when Kala tells him you need to undo that, and he goes, okay, I will. What the fuck does that mean? Did he just is he going to sell the company? Is he going to become a good pharma company?
Right. Yeah, we'll see where it goes, I guess. But this episode does do this like wildly sharp pivot from Rajan being like, what's the big deal, to being like, look, this is a big deal. You're right. And also, does Kala speak in that scene where he gives that speech?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
He just talks to her. He just talks at her.
We'll see. Yeah.
And my roommate and I both like looked at each other. He was in the other room and he heard the plot, and before it happened, he was like, are they gonna, because they say like, it's so fucked up that you're like giving AIDS drugs to different countries. What if I got sick? And he says, I would never give them to you. I would never give them out locally. I would only give them to far away countries. And my roommate looked at me like, are they gonna? And then she goes, yeah, what other countries? And he goes, oh, you know, China, Africa, country of Africa, by the way. Raja totally says Africa is a country. She's like, and then she says like, oh, like Nairobi, via Capheus, who immediately shows up because, yes, being connected to people across the world makes you realize how much we fuck over the other countries all the time. And we're totally chill about it. Even in India, they're chill about it. It's so... they did great here. They did well by this plot. To put Capheus in there and say, like, are you fucking kidding me? And this is his motivation to become a politician. He's like, if I'm going to fight, I'm going to act. This is my Van Damme moment. Is I'm going to actually... They finally justified for me Capheus deciding to do... I said, this is his superhero political origin story in my notes.
Right.
Because it's like, it's all laid out in front of you. The systemic abuse is evident.
Yeah. And like you were saying, this has been in the DNA of the show for a long time, since the first episode, basically.
Yeah.
So this is another thing like the Whispers thing where it's like, okay, this is pretty good. We could have done this like a season ago, you know? So yeah, I just feel like they spent so much time not addressing the clear, like, this stuff of the Kala plot for reasons that were not clear to me. And now we're addressing them and it's good, but it feels like we're kind of course correcting for storytelling that we could have done earlier, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that's a silly complaint to make. But I'm interested to see where it goes and what they do with Rajan, because, like, he's not just a good guy now. There's got to be more to it than that.
I hope so. I really do. Okay, last two plots I wanted to talk about. Sun and Detective Munn, do we have anything to say about this whole she expects no justice from the legal system, but you know what can fix our injustices is a quick battle? Sure. Do you have any notes on this whole scene?
No. It feels like I don't know. I want Sun to be involved in the big plots of the show. I'm like not that interested in am I going to get revenge on my brother kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because her brother's just such a two-dimensional, like, shitty guy that it's not that compelling. And there is something to this whole conflict of, well, my mom said that I should protect him.
Love my brother.
What do I owe to my mom? And there's something to that. And I like this scene of, like, the different Sense8s offering different opinions to her.
Yeah.
Or different interpretations of how they would approach the situation.
Totally.
But we've just spent so much time in her plot in this holding pattern of, all right, probably going to have to go fight my brother pretty soon. Gotta figure out this whole brother situation.
Really sad about fighting my brother. Gonna feel bad about it. Gotta do it, though.
Yeah. And then... yeah, this scene was like a good scene. I thought it was choreographed well. And it was like kind of fun and saucy in its way. But also my complaints about the existence of this detective character remain the same, which is to say, why? Why is he here? So it's looks cool, but I'm not really sure what else to make of it.
If you want to get stupid and you want to introduce more fight scenes to Beiduna's plot, then like do a like the Raid Redemption or something kind of story where she has to climb a tower and fight dudes on the way up to the tower.
Yeah, send some bad guys after her to beat up or something.
Yeah, we don't need this detective that she's like, I have a love-hate relationship, but mostly love. Fuck. Yeah, it's not going anywhere really particularly interesting right now, so I'm just waiting for it to move forward. My last big notes are about Leto's plot, which isn't complicated, but is interesting. IMHO, in my Hernando opinion. So where do we start? Joaquin is here. Oh, God. We're home. We're having fun. Why is Joaquin in Sao Paulo? Because he's so bitter about Daniela leaving him that he literally brought her parents. And you know what I wrote about this scene, John? And I literally said this last week, and it's more true than ever. Lena's plot, and sometimes all of Sense8 feels like Darman. Like I feel, and for those that don't know, Darman's a YouTuber who gets clowned a lot by other YouTubers for doing these sort of like videos, little stories that are supposed to be inspiring, hopeful about like triumph of the human spirit nonsense. They're also usually like pretty regressive morals, and they're really corny. And this is all of those things where, but not like, it's not regressive. It's just like, Dad, don't tell me what to do. I found 2 men who love me. No, honey, you are under my thumb. I control your money. Daniela's father threatens to leave her because she's a trust fund baby. Are we going to worry about the fact that she pays 1/3 of their rent and now she doesn't have that income? No, it's fine.
No, it's fine.
Are we going to worry about Joaquin and how she literally says to her parents, at least I found a guy who doesn't like beat me senseless? And they're like, anyways, come back, Daniela, with us. Joaquin, go get her. What? Are you? Your parents are okay with that? We're going to move past that?
Also, don't forget, in the middle of this scene, Joaquin's like, I'm going to beat you up. And Leto's like, I'm going to beat you up again. And there's this little like plinky plink funny reality show music. And Wolfgang's like, yeah, we're going to beat you up
We're
again.
going to beat you up.
Oh, hey, thanks, buddy. What's up? What is the tone here? What are we doing? This scene was by far my least favorite in the episode. And there's a world where in the old Sense8 of season 1, where the plots were more clearly genre pastiches, and Leto's plot was meant to be kind of soap opera-y, I think.
Yeah.
There's a way for this to work, but as the characters have blended together, the genre of Sense8 has those delineations of genre have become a lot less clear. And now the central genre of Sense8 it's a prestige sci-fi show that sometimes is like a really nice dance party. And that's like the thing that Sense8 is doing.
Yes.
And deviations from that are sort of like, wait, what? What are you doing? So Joaquin coming back, it just felt and the way it was blocked too, with him just kind of walking in from off stage, and the parents walking in and standing right next to each other up on this platform. It felt unreal. It felt like a little stage play or something. I don't know. It was so odd. So I was not a fan of this scene.
Me neither. And earlier when I said I like some things about Leto's plot, it was not any of this. It was
no.
The second half of his plot, which does not concern Daniela at all. It's the fact that his agent leaves him because, quote, the higher ups. And I like fucking predicted this plot as it was happening. The agent says like, oh, they're leaving you because they aren't happy with and I was like, are they going to say lifestyle? And he goes, oh, with your lifestyle. And I was like, that's actually like stinging in the right way for me. Where that's another thing that like queer people get a lot is like, especially when you're famous, I guess, is, oh, it's a choice. Like it's a fun thing you did for publicity, and it's one of your little lifestyle choices. Like it's such a straw man argument for like somebody's actual identity and how they feel. And for Leto to come from Sao Paulo, which is like full of, and from the Pride Parade, so happy, and then to come back to the real world was like really sad in the right ways. Because like you and I have talked about how like, oh, Leto's plot doesn't have stakes because he's so rich and happy. But like now we're not even getting bad scripts that we can do and make money. We're actually being kicked out and we have no agent. And this is like pretty significant for his career.
Right.
There's a couple bits of good visual symbolism as he heads out though, when the guy that guy like gives him the boot. First of all, if you notice when he walks into the lobby and everyone stares at him, behind him is a bunch of rainbow tiles, which suggests something about like we have the imagery of like supporting the gay community, but like we can't have a gay actor in our agency and everyone knows it. Kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But then the like saccharine but nice moment where the other man sees him in the elevator and it's quiet and then he gives him a big hug. I fell for it a little bit.
Yeah, that was nice. That was
really
nice.
That was really nice. That's really all I had though.
Mm-hmm.
So Leto hopefully finds a new agency, hopefully figures out his situation, but that's all I have. I have one stray note just to get us into stray notes though. I think we've hit everything. Jonas is alive. Jonas is alive.
Jonas.
Fucking what, dude? Shut up.
Guess that explains why it was such a quick little death, huh?
Exactly. I think that is exactly it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. So they showed us. Did we talked about everybody? Yeah, I guess we did, right?
Yeah, some of them were brief, some of them were long. Diego's here.
Yeah.
Miss Diego.
This was a long episode for not much to really happen.
Yep. Big time.
Yeah. What was your stray note?
Okay, so go back and watch it, folks. I'm going to put a clip of it here, actually, for you guys. When Lito goes to the agent, and he's like, check out the video of me at the Pride Parade. And the guy's like, yeah, I watched it. And he goes, it has almost 2 million hits. The way he says hits sounds like a foghorn. Like, I don't understand how the actor made that noise. It's amazing. I hope you guys enjoyed the clip of it, because it's awesome.
Yeah.
I had another note. Nomi talks about like, oh, how are we gonna get Riley an ID? And she says, oh wait, I can make her a fake ID. And Will's like, what if it doesn't work? And she's like, well, this is what I do. Trans people need new IDs all the time. I make those for them. I love that. I just love that little detail.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it is, and she says like, if the system isn't gonna do it for us, then we're gonna do it, which is like beautiful. Well done, guys. Short and sweet, good moment. What about you?
Did we talk about the person that Riley talks to on the plane?
Oh, I think you mentioned her briefly in your early summary, but we didn't get into that.
So this was another person who was at the rave. I guess the best way to describe them is they're like a monk with a tree tattoo on their shaved head. And Riley has this conversation with the monk about like, oh, are you going to help us? And for some reason, Riley can't visit them. Maybe there's just something there about like how they can use their Sense8 powers or whatever.
Yeah.
And they also say like, you know, you're trying to change the world, which leads to like, you know, hurt and is a futile thing to do. And the only thing you can really change is yourself, which is why I can't help you. Anyway, bye.
Very individualist.
I wonder what's going to happen with that, because that to me reads either like that's going to get resolved or like we threw this in to set up for a season 3 thing and then season 3 didn't happen.
That's what it read like to me. Enemy Sense8 cluster.
Yeah. So I thought it was interesting though.
Yeah. And I thought that was real for the whole time. That's like it's a little magic trick they can play over and over again where you're like, wow, that's a really interesting card. Oh, that's a Sense8. Okay.
Also, Riley's plane was like oddly empty.
Yeah.
I found that hard to believe.
I mean, it's what? It's London to, where is she going?
Chicago.
Okay, London to Chicago. Yeah, that can't be empty. I don't care what time.
It's like half the seats were full. Silly.
Yeah,
Not true.
Maybe they couldn't film on a full plane or something. I don't think they filmed on a plane. I'm sure that's a set, but yeah, I agree. It was weird.
Bug says, color me totally clustered.
Who writes for Bug? I just want to talk to the person who writes Bug. I just want to like have a conversation because
I want to imagine it's JMS. It's solely JMS. Like, I'll take this.
Yeah. Hold on, girls. I got this.
Although I was listening back to part of our bonus episode on the 4th Matrix film.
Oh, yeah.
And I remembered that there's a character in that film named Bugs.
Oh, but she's like they're like the...
Yeah.
The new Neo.
Different, very, very different from Bug.
Yes. They like that name.
But yeah, they like that name.
Oh, blue hair, secondary protagonist. Yes. I remember Bugs. Good movie. Fuck. You'll see a bunch of Sense8 people in it now if you rewatch it.
Wolfgang.
Maybe. I know Will is in it.
In the Matrix?
Yeah. He's one of the people on the ship. He's like a background character, but he's on the ship.
Sheesh, Will.
Sheesh. The Wachowskis working with the same people.
Sheesh.
I got nothing else.
Yeah, me neither.
But Joe, where can people
find?
find?
What we're doing next time?
Fuck! That's what I have to say next. That's an easy cut. Don't worry about it. Don't even worry about it. I'm looking for the summaries. Here they are. Next week on TrekChatz, we're watching another 2 episodes of Sense8 Season 2. First up, season 2, episode 8. All I want right now is one more bullet. Wow. A familiar face comes back from the dead. A depressed Leto turns to Sun for comfort, and Lila lures Wolfgang into a trap. We fucking knew it, gamers.
That sounds exciting.
Familiar face back from the dead. That's Jonas. Figured it out.
Yep.
Leto turns to Sun. That's a good combo we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah. I
like Lila and Wolfgang. This is good.
Awesome.
Okay, great. Next up is season 2, episode 9. What family actually means. It's about found family, you guys. That's what Leto's plot is literally about. Everyone's plot is about that. A family wedding stirs up more trouble for Nomi. Daniela goes all out to land Lino the perfect role, and one of the Sense8s faces a devastating loss.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
Will's dad.
Maybe. Likely, actually. After that, we only have another double episode, and then we're watching Amor Vincit Omnia by itself. So we're winding down on Sense8 season 2. I feel mixed about it. I have fun with it. Every once in a while, I'm like, this show is so creative and funny, and then other times I honk shoe me.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that's actively like made the show worse. I think there's just stuff that's either made it better or been like, well, I could just summarize that for you.
Yeah.
If you were someone who was a skip list person, I would imagine there'd be some more skips in season 2 than season 1.
Agreed. 100%. Now, Magellan, before we go home, can you tell me where people can find you on the internet?
Sure. The only place you can really find me is on another podcast that I do with my friend Justin. It's a video game podcast called Super Smash Echoes, where we talk about games that are related to the Super Smash Brothers franchise. Super Smash Echoes. Check us out. Alan, what about you?
I'm on a few other podcasts, one of which is Oops More Anime, found at scanlinemedia.com. My friend Six and I watch an episode of Mobile Suit Gundam: The Witch from Mercury every week. That first core is wrapping up soon, and then we're going to switch to a one episode every 3 show episode schedule for various reasons next year. But that can be found at Scanline Media if you want to hear me talk about anime, if you want to hear me talk marketing. Talking Marketing is a podcast that I host every 2 months over at my volunteer job with AMA Boston, where I interview marketing people about their craft, why they do things, fun things about their hobbies, and why so many marketers are into goddamn running. A lot of cool stuff going on over there, even if you don't care about marketing. I mean, it would support me and me getting a higher up role at my volunteer job and potentially turning that into a career someday. But also, I don't know, I think those conversations are fun, and we have like a lot of 2023 planned out, and it's very exciting. So check out Talking Marketing wherever you listen to podcasts. That's what I got. I'm going to take the plug zone this week, if you don't mind, bud.
Please do.
If you'd like to contact us, our email address is chatspod@gmail.com. That's CHATCPOD@gmail.com. We're at Chatspod on Twitter while that hell site still exists. And every week I continue to doubt its existence. But for now, Chatspod on that and maybe other platforms. Our subreddit is r/Chatspod. If you like Reddit, we have it. I don't think it's been updated for a little while, but when it does, oh, it's fire, baby. We got some old rewatch threads over there too, which are really fun. If you like the show, you can support us in a few ways. We are, you can rate us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or your other podcast platform of choice that has ratings. That really supports us. And then if you have the financial means, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/chatspod, where at $1, $3, or $5 a month, you get different tiers of bonus content, like the Chats Files, the newly resuscitated Chats Files, where Magellan watches the X-Files with no lights on, or commentary chats where we talk over movies, or Chats Nights where we just talk, or pilot chats where we watch TV show pilots. If you still want TV talk over there, that's patreon.com/chatspod. And at the $5 tier, you get all the things I just mentioned, in addition to a shout out at the end of every main feed episode of the show. So thank you today to Arthur, Jen, Justin, Kat, Lee, Magellan's mom, Marcus, Michael, Nick and Pat of the Brothers at Infinite War, Six, and Stefan. All things chats can be found at chatspod.com. Our podcast art for the main feed was done by @Camillastrator. Camillastrator can be found on all the social media platforms if you want to support her. And before we take it home, we have one final brief segment called Chatsums Munch, where we recommend you something or some things to tide you over until the next Chats episode. Magellan, what do you got for Chatsums this week?
Okay, so I have 2 quick rechatsums. I rewatched The Last Dance over the weekend, the Michael Jordan documentary. Still pretty good. entertaining. I always got to shout out Patrick H. Willems, the film YouTuber.
Yeah.
Continues to do amazing videos. Did you watch his "What is the most 80s movie ever" video?
No, it's too long for me.
Oh no, watch it.
Okay, that's queued up. I'll watch it. I want to watch
It's great.
it.
That's a really good one. But I don't watch basketball, but for some reason, like people talking about basketball is interesting to me. And so I have a basketball YouTube channel recommendation for
Okay,
you.
King, go ahead.
The channel is called, I think it said Jimmy High Roller, but the Jimmy part is spelled JXMY.
JX, my
And then-
high roller.
Yeah. And just a lot of interesting, like, kind of deep sideways dives into statistics, and comes away with some interesting conclusions. So if you're someone like me who's interested less in, like, I don't know, basketball and more interested in like debates and numbers and analysis in general, it's a pretty good channel for that.
JX, my high roller on YouTube.
So
Good chats.
what about you?
I had the pleasure of seeing a band that I had never heard of live this past weekend.
Oh, nice.
The band is called Troll 2, like the movie. They named their band after the movie, which is why I chat them partly because the SEO does not lean in their favor, unfortunately. I would describe them as like folk adjacent. It's folk. It's a little bit hardcore almost. There's like some good guitar work, but mostly just banjo and vocals, or bass work, I guess, not guitar. Yeah, they were really fun. They kind of brought the house down. We had like a little like shindig in a church with a bunch of live music, and they were definitely the standout for me. Their album Inheritance is really good. I listened to that on a very cold walk home this week. So they're on Spotify. I'm sure they're on Bandcamp as well. If you want to support them, I recommend doing it that way. Yeah, check out some local music. They were really great.
Nice. Troll 2.
Yes, Troll 2.
I remembered what I wanted to chat some that I had forgotten.
Well, I'll give you a retro chat some.
Thank you. It's also a basketball related thing. I watched that Shaq mini documentary on HBO Max. The Last Dance is way better in terms of like the storytelling of it and the drama of it, but the Shaq one is like much like Shaq himself. It's like that's charming. I had fun. The editing's pretty fast paced and good. So if you're entertained by Shaq's charismatic personality and are willing to put up with some lighter fare, it's a good time. The Shaq show.
SHAQ on HBO.
Yeah.
Groovy. Yeah, I like Shaq.
Yeah.
I respect Shaq, I think. Probably. He seems nice. He's got a really short wife. That's what I think is funny. Shaq and his wife, if you look them up.
I mean, he's also really tall.
I know.
Is she short by average height?
Shawnee O'Neal. I don't know, actually. Maybe I should look into that before I say things. 5'7". Okay. She's not that short. But he's extremely tall. Yes.
Yeah.
We'll have to see it. That's what we got, folks. That's truly it. There's no more. You're done. You listened to the whole podcast. If you got here, I don't know, chatspot@gmail.com. So email us the word principality and tell me that's how I'll know that you listened to the episode all the way through. Thank you to Magellan for being the Volner to my Magellan and Allen, because we love you and we can't get enough of you. And thank you for listening to this episode of Chatz 8. Peace.